All right, welcome back, True Seeker. Again, this video is titled, Are You Listening to Liars? Because the social media sphere is full of them. And again, a lot of them like to take stabs at my work. And it's sad because my work is one of the only things in the social media sphere that actually proves what is going on. And I want to talk about again the way Owen Benjamin and High Impact Flix recently opened their debate. I made a video on this the other day. For some reason, there was no sound on it, so we're going to try this again. And now An0maly, who is also part of this circle of social media influencers, wanted to take his latest stab at my work, and we're going to play his remarks too, which are just completely false. And again, I want to let all three of these people know the only reason you guys have larger platforms than me is because I've been deleted a million times. And not only because of that, but also because the world is full of dumb people. Dumb people do not resonate with my work, but a lot of dumb people will resonate with, say, an Owen Benjamin, who really knows nothing about anything, has shown that he's nothing but a racist who can provide a little entertainment value. And I know he refers to himself as a comedian, but I've never heard anything funny come out of his mouth. He can play the piano, I'll give him credit for that. Brian, he has a few nice slogans, but that's all he's got. A few nice slogans, and it's all empty rhetoric because everything he says about coming together, he has no intention of. And An0maly is just a young kid who still doesn't know anything about anything, and we'll get to him in a moment. But let's start right here with Owen Benjamin and Brian and the way they had to start their debate about anarchy. They had to start it off by taking a shot at my work. And both of these guys in the past have taken stabs at my work. This is nothing new. It's been going on for the better part of the last decade. So let's listen to these guys, and then let's talk about what's interesting about their little jokes here. So here we go.
Everybody in the chat right now, we are live with Owen Benjamin. Just give me a 5x5 if you can see us visually and you can hear us audio. Just put a 5x5 in the room. I really appreciate everybody being here. There's already 334 people watching.
Okay, 333. That's hilarious.
333.
Oh, dude, have you noticed like Gematria does actually pop out a lot? Have you been noticing any of that, or is that just me being a little weird?
Honestly, I don't keep up with it. It's confusing to me.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a simpleton.
Yeah, no, totally. It doesn't matter. It doesn't like say anything directly, so I just kind of ignore.
So we're going to continue with what they're saying, but again, just Brian's been playing this. Brian's the one in the blue hat, High Impact Flix. Now here's the deal, and Owen's the one on the left with the beard. Well, I guess technically they both have beards, but again, a simple person can understand Gematria, and again, the relevance of this knowledge just day after day. Last week, Tuesday, I uploaded a video and I said, watch, in the week ahead, I think we're going to see the Supreme Court take on the issue of Trump in Colorado. And I made that prediction for a very specific reason. It's because, as I stated, we were going to begin the process of 38 weeks and days to the election. And we're always talking about the rituals with Colorado in 38. It's the 38th state in order of statehood. In Gematria, Colorado equals 38. So I put out that video Tuesday. Literally the very next day, which was February 7th, which is the 38th day of the year, the headline broke that night that the Supreme Court has decided they're going to hear the Trump Colorado ballot case. And then Thursday, they began their arguments over it. And the headline emerged that day that it looks like the Supreme Court will back Trump and put him back on the ballot in Colorado. And it remains to be seen what day the headline will break that their decision's final. But it very well could come this coming Tuesday, February 13th, the anniversary of Antonin Scalia's death by the numbers, whole Supreme Court thing. But February 13th is exactly 38 weeks to the election. And again, Gematria, it's very simple. It's based on the alphabetic order forwards and backwards with numerology. And for example, look at Colorado and election. Again, this was the first state to take Trump off the ballot for the election. But Colorado's 83 with the alphabetic order, 38 with numerology, 133 with the reverse alphabetic order, 43 with the reverse alphabetic order and numerology. Perfect overlap in all four ciphers. 38's the big number over and over with Colorado again because it's the 38th state in order of statehood. Again, it's a pattern we've talked about in sports like literally a million times in the last decade, but in other things as well, especially all the mass shootings. It comes up all the time. So again, when you have one guy going, "Oh, it's just like so confusing," and then Owen's like, "Yeah, it doesn't really show anything," it's like, okay, keep in mind both of these guys thought Trump was going to win the last election, okay? Both of these guys thought Trump would win the last election. Brian was dumbfounded by the ritual that took place where it looked like it was stolen, exactly what they simulated at Jesuit Georgetown, which we'll get to in a moment. But again, I think I was the only person in the truth community putting out, a year plus in advance why Biden would become number 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, what the 59th election had to do with it. Just like I think I probably was the first person in the truth community to say why I thought Trump would win the 58th election, announcing from the 58-story Trump Tower. And yes, it is true, I did change my mind about Trump. I thought he got too ridiculous, but the numbers from the beginning showed that Trump was the guy. And we've been talking about what's going on with Trump in the upcoming 60th election for a long time, documenting why his wife, his ex-wife, died exactly 60 weeks into the Jesuit Ignatian year, the same day that he hinted he'd run for the 60th election. So we'll get to all this, but these are the frauds, you guys, and I can't believe people don't see it, especially Owen Benjamin. He just ripped off how many people? He told people to send him $400, and he was going to buy them a piece of land they could all come and camp at 2 weeks out of the year, and then now he's told nobody can come there, and I don't know, I've heard rumors about how much money he collected, which I wouldn't doubt. This guy's been a cash machine since he got on social media. But again, why are people even influenenced by Owen Benjamin? Because they're under mind control. This guy comes from the world of celebrities, been in some shows and movies. Again, you have to be brainless to ever even like this guy. This guy's been truly just a bad person, a bad operator, a bad person since he got here. Just every other word he says is the N-word. That's the history of what I know about Owen Benjamin. When I was just talking about this the other week, he put out a podcast that day, making fun of black people, calling them the niggles. I mean, the guy's trash. But anyway, let's watch these two bad operators. And the reason we know Brian's a liar, by the way, the reason we know Brian's a liar is because Brian said publicly on his own stream that he would not debate me because I came at him with an ad hominem attack. Then he debates Owen and promotes it on the ad hominem attacks that he came at Brian with. So it's like, so Owen can call you a lot worse things than I said to you and you'll debate him. But because I called you, whatever I called him, a grifter, he wouldn't debate me. Okay. Maybe because that one was true. So anyway, let's listen to these guys, and then we'll talk about what's interesting, what could be coincidental about what they're doing, or possibly not. And let's look at how we can determine the difference between coincidence with Gematria and what's not coincidence. And then we'll get to An0maly, who's, doesn't have as much of a following as these two. But here we go.
Ignore it, but like I had friends over yesterday and we're playing cards, and I literally had a pair of 9s and a pair of 11s, and I just started laughing.
Do you think that holds substantial meaning? I'm not sure.
I have no idea, man. I really don't. It's like, did you see that back and forth between me and Bryson Gray on Twitter?
Somebody sent me a Spaces. Was there something beyond the Spaces that you guys had? Which
no,
was
the
like
Spaces, it was so funny. So he does some post, I don't know, about like, he's like, yo, I'm from a family or whatever. And I don't know why. I just felt the need to be like, but have you ever stolen a bike? And I don't do that. Like, if you look at my Twitter, I have thousands of tweets. I do the bike thief joke a lot, but I don't just like randomly write that to black dudes, And so we start going back and forth. And then the next day I'm live streaming, and he starts acting extra nutty. Like he's like trolling the chat and all this, because I'm wearing a shirt that says, never forget. And it's my bike, and it says May 24th, 1991. And because that's when my bike actually was stolen. It's like a long running gag. And one of my friends who actually happens to be black made me that shirt. And so he's going nuts. And then so I'm matching his animosity. We do a live, and halfway through I realize why he's so offended, like he's going so nuts. He's like, yo, why'd you have to wear that shirt with my birthday on it? And I'm like, wait, your birthday's May 24th? I'm like, my birthday's May 24th. I'm like, what year were you born? He goes, 1991. I go, bro, your birthday was the day my bike was stolen. He thought I made the shirt just to mess with him. And then we start dying laughing. And then like all the tension was just over, and we just immediately became friends. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Well, what's even just to add another layer of hilarity to this, my youngest brother's birthday is on May 24th, so I thought that was all just a gas, man. It was hilarious. All right, so
Okay, so again, they bring up the word gematria. Brian says, he's too simple, he's not really into it. Owen says it doesn't really do anything. Then they talk about numerology. They don't talk about gematria. Again, gematria comes from Kabbalah. It is the practice of coding numbers into words. They were talking about numerology. A pair of 11s and 9s, that's numerology. Dates, that's numerology. Gematria, let's look at the gematria piece. So Owen said that the bicycle was stolen May 24th, 1991, which would have been his 11th birthday. His birthday is May 24th, as you can see on his Wikipedia. And again, real truth tellers don't get Wikipedia pages, but people in Hollywood do, and he has been there, so that's why he has one. And again, May 24th is the 144th day of the year. Here's what's interesting about this conversation about a stolen bicycle on the 144th day of the year and him having it with Brian Young of High Impact Flix. So, gematria is the practice of coding numbers into words. Stolen bicycle, funny enough, is 144, okay? Stolen bicycle, 144, okay? Could be a coincidence. Could be a coincidence. There is an organic side to the code. He's talking to Brian Young about it. Brian Young, when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, is also 144. The reason I would say all of that could be a coincidence is because there's no historical pattern that we have to go off of. It is interesting. It could be a synchronicity. I wouldn't say, that's definite proof that they were just making this gematria joke and putting it right in front of everybody's face. It's possible. I don't think that's what they're doing. The number 144, though, is special. And again, where we typically talk about 144 is with the Jesuits and how you can see beyond a shadow of a doubt how important this number is to them and their rituals. And people have to understand the calendar we're on was created by a Jesuit priest in the 16th century, Christopher Clavius. And again, the Jesuits served the Pope. And again, they made a 52-week calendar in tribute to the Pope. Pope's 52, of course. But coming back to Jesuit order in 144. Donald Trump, who's Jesuit educated, he posed with the first ever Jesuit Pope at the Vatican, May 24th, that same day that they're talking about, May 24th, 2017, the 144th day of the year. Jesuit Georgetown, and you can look this up, June 12th, 2020, it was called the Transition Integrity Project, or TIP. They simulated that Donald Trump would lose the election on November 3rd, which was 144 days later. He would lose the election. He would refuse to step down, and it would lead to deadly violence in America. And they said he'd refuse to step down because he would say that he was cheated. And we all know how they did the election, right? They made it look like when we went to bed and they stopped the count on November 3rd, they made it look like Trump was winning and was probably going to, retain his presidency. But then we woke up the next morning, and then overnight, all these states, Michigan and Georgia and beyond, all of a sudden, all these votes came in overnight that made those states all of a sudden go for Biden. And, keep in mind, before the election happened, we explained long in advance why Joe Biden was going to become number 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, but Michigan was one of the states that we had pegged definitely to go for Biden, so I wasn't shocked that overnight all these votes came in Michigan to tip it for Biden. And again, remember, the only Catholic president before Joe Biden was JFK, who was killed at age 46. JFK was also number 35. Number 35 killed at age 46, the first Catholic president. Israel established in a major Catholic tribute on 14/5 because there's 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament and 46 books. What just popped off with the war in Israel happened on Putin's 71st birthday, 71 days before the Pope's birthday. And not to mention, again, October 4th, our TFR episode was how it looked like there was going to be a major act of terrorism in the world on October 7th. And we got that from the 10-4 alerts in Russia and in the U.S. on the same day, and what was encoded in those alerts and how it pointed to October 7th. Again, watch TFR from October 4th, how we had October 7th circled for some kind of major act of terrorism. Go back to December 29, 2022, the day Netanyahu came back. We explained why his return then foreshadowed a major war event in Israel in 2023, and we speculated then that it would be around the time Yale turned 322 years old. Sure enough, it happened 2 days before Yale turned 322 years old. So again, when people are out here like, oh yeah, like it's too hard to understand, it's really not, unless you're dumb. And I know Brian's not dumb. I'm not going to accuse Brian of being dumb. I'll accuse him of playing dumb on the subject. I'll accuse Brian of being a liar because he's showing he is that. And the thing I don't like about Brian is, he had a stream going the other day on Rumble, and I was in there, and I was asking him fair questions, and I saw that he was reading the chat, and he was just reading, and I probably gave him about 10 fair questions, and he didn't respond to a single one, and then I gave him a jab, I gave him a jab, and then he responds like, oh, look who's in the chat, Mr. Numbers showing his fangs. And I was like, see, that's the kind of guy you are, Brian. You don't answer 10 fair questions, and then when I give you something that you think you can, try to make me look bad on, that's who you are. That's so lame. That's so pathetic. How old are you? God, he's a joke. You are a joke of a man, Brian. You're as fake as your woman's tits. So anyway, coming back to the 144 thing. The 144s they're doing here could be coincidental, but then you go to the Jesuits. Again, the Jesuits. The people, the founders, some of the founders were worried about what would happen if they came out of suppression. Did you know the Jesuits came out of suppression in history exactly 144 days after James Madison's birthday? And there's a lot of people that think James Madison was an agent, and he wasn't really about this nation. And he is the father of the Constitution, which is interesting. But the Jesuits came out of suppression 144 days after James Madison's birthday. JFK's assassination, 144 days from his meeting with the Pope. His brother's time of death, what did they say? 1:44 p.m. they had to tell you. Lincoln, who blamed the Civil War on the Jesuits, shot on 14/4. In the case of MLK, the 144 is not on his assassination, but Martin Luther King Jr. assumed the name Martin Luther after the Protestant Reformation leader and was shot on the 95th day of the year, like Martin Luther wrote the 95 Theses. And what did I say this year? I said something's coming probably for the MLK family that's not nice, because MLK would have turned 95 this year, and then 1 week after what would have been his 95th birthday, we know what happened to his son. His son died. And again, just this 144 number. You can see through so many puppets in the world. The puppets of big tech, the Mark Zuckerbergs, the Elon Musks. They're all doing rituals around this number over and over and over. And in light of, the Jesuits being here from the beginning, the United States of America has the gematria of 144. It also has 99. And what day was the United States of America named? It was named on September 9th, 99. What's hard to understand about that? Did you know the cornerstone for Washington, D.C. was laid by George Washington on the 261st day of the year, September 18th? I honestly don't have anything for 387, but there's probably something to it. Again, gematria, it's elementary math. It's the alphabetic order forwards and backwards with numerology. So again, the 144 list is monumental. By the way, again, Jesuit Georgetown simulated the election that Biden would narrowly win and Trump wouldn't step down 144 days before it happened. Biden's also Jesuit educated like Trump. President Biden's 144. See how President Biden's also 81? Like he supposedly got 81 million votes, and he's from Scranton, Pennsylvania, home of the office. Scranton's on Interstate 81. We just talked about what happened on Biden's 81st day of being 81 years old. It was the really bad day for him where he looked senile because the report came out. And it was the day that President Trump had a really good day because the Supreme Court came out that day and said, looks like we're going to back you in Colorado. And by the way, the Supreme Court, right? The Supreme Court came out that day and said, looks like they're going to back Trump in Colorado. And that's another 81. So Biden's very terrible day was on Trump's very good day. And in the last election, Biden supposedly again got 81 million votes, which is weird because I'm up here in a very liberal Washington state, and I still haven't really seen any Biden bumper stickers or yard signs. So it's like, really? This guy got the most votes ever, and it seems like there's no hype for him at all? It's hard to imagine. And what have I been saying the whole time? I mean, I saw through this way before I learned gematria. I learned gematria in 2013. I saw presidential elections were rigged in 2000. I was 17 years old. That's why I haven't voted in any federal elections in my life, because I just know you're participating in a lie. You got to be brain dead to not know that. And meanwhile, these types of people try and legitimize these things. And here, just to go over to An0maly, again, all these guys kind of circle jerk each other and interview each other and talk about each other. And if they ever bring up my work, they'll they'll downplay the work. So here, let's listen to An0maly. If you guys don't know An0maly, he's a rapper, and he got famous through a song called "I Like Trump." But these days, he thinks he's very enlightened, and now he backs Thomas Massey, still thinking the politics are real, but he doesn't like Trump anymore. So I don't know if he has a new song about not liking Trump, but anyway, this was his claim to fame. This is how he got on the map. And here's what he has to say about my work. Just let's listen to this and see if this sounds genuine or honest. Okay, here we go. And by the way, when I was down in LA educating about Kobe's death this past spring, there was a woman who came out, and she said her reason to come out is because she knows An0maly, and she just wanted to let me know that there's a lot of people in the community or online who do follow my work, but they don't want to give credit and they don't want to give recognition. She said An0maly watches a lot of your stuff, and he talks about you a lot offline. So maybe one day he'll bring you on and you can have a conversation. Well, here he is 9 months later. It's just like, I mean, this is what it's just, I hate frauds, man. And especially when people start slandering me. I am a genuine person. I'm an honest person. And to listen to this, it's just gross. But here it is right here. An0maly.
For sure. Why don't I follow Gematria? I mean, I'm not against patterns. I'm a pattern recognizer. I'm into numbers and math, but I don't really believe them, to be honest. And I think that they're...
So let's just pause right there. I don't believe them. Again, do we know what... like, most people don't even know the meaning of words. Believe. What does that word mean? Believe. Accept something as true. Feel sure of the truth. I don't feel like that's a good definition. Hold something as an opinion, think, or purpose. I don't think these are good definitions of belief. If you believe in something... a belief means there's no evidence for it. Like people believe in a religion. It's faith. It's faith. You don't have evidence that it's true, but you believe in it. You accept the faith. It's like agreeing with something without evidence. So you don't have to believe in my work. All of my work is evidence-based. And there's a long track record of the evidence and worth and over a decade's worth of accurate predictions. And I want you to hear what he says, just diminishing the truth of the matter. And again, just days ago, just another correct prediction, and we hit them all the time. Not to mention just a phenomenal week of sports prop bets. But anyway, again, the thing I just laid about Colorado, just another prediction showing how scripted it all is and how redundant the patterns are. It doesn't take belief. That's evidence. You can deny the evidence. You can say, I don't want to swallow the evidence because I have cognitive dissonance. But you don't have to believe me. But believing would mean that there was no evidence for anything that I've ever done. It would all just be based on opinion and hearsay, which is actually what the whole truth community, and they're not the truth community, the shill community, the liar community, the fraud community, the opinion community, the still fooled by the mainstream community, that's who most of these people are. They're believing things. Belief isn't part of my operation. I don't really believe in much. I need evidence and facts. Okay. So let's continue with this rhetoric.
They're arrogant, condescending, and just not as smart or honest as they think they are. So,
I can be condescending, so I can own that. It's because I know humanity's fucking retarded. And arrogant, again, I guess you could say that. Some people say it's not arrogance, it's confidence, and that is also true. Again, I've been cementing the points I've been making. You're over here thinking Trump's going to win the election. And later on here, he goes in how, like, the media is going to... I don't think Trump can win because of what the media is doing to him. It's just like, you still don't get it, dude. Later, he's talking about how much he likes sports. Here, let me rewind it and just shut up and let him play his little clip here, and then I'll respond to it all. So, from the beginning, here we go.
Hello, Gematria. I mean, I'm not against patterns. I'm a pattern recognizer. I'm into numbers and math, but I don't really believe them, to be honest. And I think that they're arrogant, condescending, and just not as smart or honest as they think they are. So it's like, they're always talking about sports, and it's like, I don't think sports is 100% fair all the time or anything, but if they're so good at Gematria, why don't they bet on sports? They always claim after something happens that they knew it was going to happen. Why didn't you bet at the beginning of the season? You had 20-1 odds on the Super Bowl champion, 10-1 odds. Like, you could have won $1 million. They're always just like waiting till something happens, and they're like QAnon with numbers. They're like, look, 74654. I had one of these Gematria weirdos like message me, and he was like, dream rare, and he's like adding up the numbers. He's like, you're in on it, and it's like, okay, psychopath, like whatever you want to tell yourself. Let me see.
Okay, so he's moving on. Okay. A whole bunch of assumptions. What do you know that I do with gambling? How many futures have we hit in all sports? We just hit 50 to 1 on the Rangers. Did you just do the math on what you said? I don't ever encourage people to bet 50,000. You have to bet 50,000 on 20 to 1 odds to win $1 million. You'd have to bet 100,000 on 10 to 1 odds to hit $1 million. But I have never claimed that, I called this after the fact. Anytime I've said I claimed that, it's because I did. And why do you think there's thousands of people that are signed up for the sports service? For years, ever since I launched it. Why do you think USA Today wrote a hit piece on me in 2016 when we called everything about Super Bowl 50 down to the halftime show and the MVP in week 3? Something we've done multiple times over the years across all sports. So again, to downplay and denounce what we've done, and it's not just sports. It's showing what's coming in news. How many times have we called a news story before it happened? What about all of the patterns we've educated about that prove themselves every month in terms of the world of ritual sacrifice of celebrities? Mass shootings in the news by the same patterns and numbers over and over. Literally talking about the same numbers in sports each year. Super Bowl equals 41. That's why the Chiefs were a lock to beat Baltimore. Mahomes got his 41st road win last week in Baltimore, which also equals 41, or 2 weeks ago now in the AFC Championship. We moved the Chiefs up to the most likely team to be in the Super Bowl. Well, we had them there before the season began, and then we moved them up even further in week 3 when Andy Reid had the mega Super Bowl ritual, scoring 41 points against Chicago, where the NFL was founded, and also getting his 271st win, the 58th prime. And again, you can see how these numbers are everywhere. He's going to go in later in this stream. I'm not even going to skip to it, but he's going to talk about how he doesn't think sports are scripted. You have to explain then why in the NBA, there's only 2 games today, and you have the Kings playing, who used to be in Kansas City. They just happen to be one of the teams playing. There's 30 teams in the NBA. Only 4 are playing today. Kings used to be in Kansas City. You have to explain why Mike Brown's coming into that game on 271 regular season losses, the 58th prime, and 311 total losses for his career if you include the playoffs, the 64th prime, like it's the Chiefs' 64th season. And you have to explain how we're showing this stuff day after day, year after year, season after season. It's the exact same things. You learn the numbers, you see the patterns, you see how rigged the game is. The day of the playoff game between Tampa and Detroit. Detroit beats Tampa. In the NHL, you had both teams playing that day. Both teams in the NHL, after the Lions won, both NHL teams, Detroit won as well, and both NHL teams were on 24 wins, like Lions equals 24, like Lions beat Stafford with 24 points, like how the Lions got stuck on 24 points against the Niners. Every year we're teaching about the same numbers with the same teams. We're teaching about the same numbers with the news stories. Nothing has changed in the 10 years I've been teaching this. It's the same lessons every year. So the evidence is just, we can't even talk about how many examples there are from all the sports decoding, which, again, since September of 2018 has been behind a paywall. This guy's sitting over here going, well, I didn't see what you did. Yeah, because you're not on the Patreon. You think if I was just like going, oh, see, I claimed it, you think I'd have anybody signed up on my service if we weren't calling it way in advance? We had the Rangers at 50 to 1 odds after game 1 of the regular season for baseball last year. And what was the prediction based on? George W. Bush, how it lined up with him because he used to manage the Rangers. World Series comes along, who's throwing out the first pitch? George W. Bush. We saw how Game 5 was on his 119th day of his age for the 119th World Series. We said it probably ends right there. 4-1, also in tribute to his father, number 41. Exactly what happens. The Nuggets won the finals, 4-1, on the anniversary of number 41's birthday. How many years have we been shown how connected the Bushes are to the world of rigged sports? Because they're part of Skull and Bones and the Russell Trust. Russell Trust has a lot to do with what's going on in athletics. A lot of money behind a lot of things. That's why part of the reason Bill Russell died on the last day of the Jesuit Ignatian year He was Jesuit educated at University of San Francisco, played for Boston, dies right after the finals between San Francisco and Boston on the last day of the Jesuit year on the 31st of July, the day in history Ignatius of Loyola died. 31's the 11th prime. He was in 11 championships. Again, this isn't belief. These are facts. You said you're good at number recognition? Maybe not. Because nobody who's good with patterns is sitting there making comments like you just made. And, you know, to see he thinks he's so smart. An0maly, here's the fact. I'm a lot smarter than you are. I'm a lot smarter than most of the morons on this platform that have a following that vibe more with the other idiot masses. Like I said at the beginning, the reason you guys have a following is because people aren't very smart. If people were intelligent, they wouldn't be thinking that politics was real. You know, they wouldn't be looking to a moron like you for answers. Okay? That's the real reason you won't debate. You'll sit there and talk shit, and anytime I come in your stream, you'll be like, I don't want to bring you on. You're arrogant. What's the point of bringing on that pharmaceutical executive who just dropped out of the race perfectly synced with Trump? Huh? You bring him on for clout. And why is he even going on your platform anyway? Looks mad suspect. You know? Here, let me show you the thing about your guy Vivek. Vivek, the big pharmacy guy. Another little fraudster in the political sphere that the media promoted. I just want to show you about sports and politics and how it's all connected and bring it back to your guy. I like Trump. So Donald Trump got 56,000 votes on January 15th. The election's on 1/15, November 5th, the day leaving 56 days left in the year. Special day of the Jesuits, Guy Fawkes Day. And, of course, Trump took office with the 115th Congress in 2017, and then he went on the thank you tour, where in GematriaEffectNews 115. Again, for Brian, just ABC 123, Brian. Thank you, 115. But here's Vivek. Vivek drops out of the race on this day. By the way, Donald Trump and Iowa both 60, like it's the 60th election, like how his wife died exactly 60 weeks into the Jesuit Ignatian year on 14/7 when President of the United States is 147. But it was also his 216th day of his age, like he had his 2016 convention in Cleveland, and like how he's trying to become the next Grover Cleveland, who was the only split-term president who was numbers 22 and 24, and Trump announced that he was running for 2024 at the end of 2022. But, here, where's the Vivek part? So from Vivek's birthday, the day leaving 144 days left in the year, go figure, August 9th, from his birthday to January 15th, the day he dropped out, and then Trump said that he'd have a place in his cabinet, Donald Trump's 159. And if you go back to the 115th World Series, right, just like how this ritual is on 115, again, Donald Trump hired Steve Ray for Inauguration Day. He's the Nationals announcer. The Nationals won the 115th World Series. Let me pull this up here for you real quick. Just want you to see this. 115th World Series, Nationals over Astros. We had a real nice future on this because we had the Nationals to win the World Series before they even clinched their spot in the playoffs. Their little run at the end of the season started on the day in history the Jesuits were recognized by Rome. It was about the coldest skull and bones ritual there ever was against the Indians, synced up with Prescott Bush, who stole Geronimo's skull. But anyway, it's a lot to explain, but it's what told us the World Series. And the Astros, you know, that was the year after George Herbert Walker Bush had died, and he was last seen in public on the field with the Astros when they won the 113th World Series, which we also called why they beat the Dodgers early in the season, and Vice News wrote their hit piece on me for that. We were showing how it was synced up with weather warfare. But anyway, this World Series ended on October 30th, okay? Trump's birthday is June 14th, the flag, so I just want you to see this. I want you to see, because I remember all this like it was yesterday. June 14th, 2019. That World Series was in 2019. And October 30th, 2019 was 138 days after Donald Trump's birthday, okay? So notice, Donald Trump is 138. The manager of the Nationals then was Dave Martinez, which is also 138, and Nationals is also 138 like federal, okay? Now coming back to Donald Trump's 138. Donald Trump's also 159. I want you to see the Rockets-Wizards box score, because we had a nice little parlay that night. Nationals were big dogs, and Rockets and Wizards actually had decent value. October 30th, 2019. I want you to see. So this game got anxious at the end because The Rockets were down by a lot with hardly any time left, and we thought Rockets were a lock just like the Nationals. And the Rockets did win the game, but you see how the Rockets scored 159 points? I want you to see the box score for the World Series. Nationals and Astros box score October 30th, 2019. Nationals won 6-2, like Houston, Texas is 62. But here, let me get the box score here for you. Let me see. Okay. So we're going to the Nationals pitching. You see how many pitches the Nationals threw in the game? And understand, this stuff happens all the time. This is how scripted the games are. The Nationals threw 159 pitches, winning the World Series, synced up with Trump. And think about it. You have Washington, D.C. and Houston, right? You have Washington, D.C. and Houston in basketball on the same night. They do this all the time with crossing sports. And, of course, Houston got to 3-1, just like last year Connecticut got their 31st win in Houston. We call Houston the 31 city. UConn had the strongest narrative to win the tournament after the opening game of March Madness last year because they paused the game and took down the Nets on UConn's side after they scored the 84th points in the 84th tournament. And sure enough, their coach finished 8-4 in the tournament all time. And his father's Jesuit educated. But anyway, Houston, 31 city. We all know what happened to the Migos rapper in the 31 ritual. But again, this is a script. And, you know, it's just like when Donald Trump, who has the flag's birthday, took office while the U.S. flag was 239 years old. We knew the day that he took on the protesters of the NFL on 23/9 in the year of Super Bowl 52 when 239 is the 52nd prime. We said that day, there's your Super Bowl. We already had Patriots before the season began to be in the Super Bowl. We said there's the NFC team. It's the Philadelphia Eagles where the flag was sewn at 239 Arch Street. Sure enough, Eagles versus Patriots. The only Super Bowl I've called wrong since Super Bowl 48 in the time I've been doing this work. We had the future right for that one, but that's the only Super Bowl outcome I got wrong. I did, though, say that if the Eagles were going to win that game, because it was a tough call, I said Zach Ertz, number 86, would score the winning touchdown 86 days after his birthday because the national anthem was adopted 86 years earlier. Exactly what happened. And again, we can go through a million more examples, but I'm just doing this one for An0maly if he watches because he's a big Trump guy. He's a big sports guy. He's going to be like, I'm not a Trump guy anymore, but you were. This is back when you were getting famous off the song I Like Trump, advocating for a total puppet stooge who we saw through way before he took office. Go back and watch the first GOP debate. Here's what we showed in 2015 when he took the stage with the 20 other Republican candidates that Fox was covering. They said he was the 133rd richest man in the world. President's 133, White House is 133, government's 133. You know, that's what we were showing. We were saying, are they telling us that Donald Trump is the next president in the Masonic city, announcing he's running from the 58-story Trump Tower for the 58th election? Freemasonry's 58, Secret Society's 58. Hillary's book about why she lost is called What Happened 58. The first degree of Freemasonry is The Apprentice. I mean, like, okay. An0maly. To make these remarks, trying to take a stab at me, in what world do you show that you're a smarter person? By believing and being fooled by the deception? By your commentary later in this stream about how Trump's probably going to get beat by the media and how they're trying to keep him off the ballot? You're falling for all the bullshit. What have I been saying for 2 years? He's going to be 78 years old. Cleveland 78. Trying to repeat Grover Cleveland. He's Trump. Trump cards come from the tarot deck. There's 78 cards in the tarot deck. That's why Jesse Waters the other week has a tarot card reader on foretelling why Trump's going to win the election. What a joke. 22 cards are the Trump cards, and the remaining 56 cards are the lesser arcana, or whatever they call them. But 56, just like how November 5th leaves 56 days left in the year, special to the Society of Jesus or the Jesuits. Just like how 2020, the year of the pandemic, was 20 years after Trump's Jesuit education began. You're in California there, An0maly. Isn't Gavin Newsom, the Jesuit, your governor, who said 56% of California is going to get coronavirus in 8 weeks, which is 56 days? How come you didn't share about any of this? How come you're acting like we don't call things before they happen when we called everything about the pandemic before it happened? Called it before anybody else did. called What Day the Lockdowns Would Happen, called that dead on, called When the Pandemic Would End from the very beginning, wrote a book about it, so it was written in pages, unlike my YouTube channels that have been destroyed and deleted. But we called When the Lockdowns Would Begin, When It Would End. I explained why it would end when the Year of the Tiger came around at the very start, like in the days of it beginning. Called What Would Happen with the Jab when it came out, because it was all foretold at Bill Gates' 2010 TED Talk. So, yeah, again, it's annoying, this community of shills that has traction with the masses of morons who tune into these people to get opinions when it's like, what do you need their opinions for? They don't know what they're talking about. Right at the beginning of the Putin, here he is talking about the Tucker Carlson Putin thing. It's like, I haven't heard anybody who grasped onto the very beginning of what Putin said. At the beginning of the 2-hour interview, Putin said it. Hey, by the way, An0maly, did you call what day the war was going to start in Russia, Ukraine? Because we called it dead on before it happened. We knew exactly why Joe Biden came out at 2:22 p.m. local time on February 22nd to address the nation. I wrote a book about 222 called Number Games, 9/11 to Coronavirus, explaining why those things happened exactly 222 months apart. Why Trump was at the World Economic Forum on the 222nd day of his age, on the day that COVID was confirmed in the U.S., and why it matters that Trump's trade deal with China was the same day that COVID supposedly arrived in the U.S. Again, just so simple. World Economic Forum, the same one that simulated the pandemic, 222. So Trump's Brian, you really can't understand this? The significance of Trump being at the World Economic Forum on the 222nd day of his age, as Wuhan coronavirus is confirmed in the U.S. on the same day while he's there gloating about his trade deal with China? For people forget what day that was January 21st, 2020. What's the Masonic Jesuit motto? Order out of chaos. 222. They also like the as above, so below, which is another 222. And there's some other 222s on this list that are escaping my mind right now. Here's another one. The leader of the Jesuits, who it's all synced up with. Superior General. But yeah, it's just, it's a total joke. And again, from 9/11 to the day the pandemic was declared is exactly 222 months on the nose. And by the way, that's another one. New York is 222. Just like how Event 201 was simulated there and the World Trade Centers came down there. And not to mention, there were 2 World Trade Center towers, and then they became 0, and then they became 1 World Trade Center. Event 201 was the simulation. It was the biggest thing since 9/11. The 1,201 Jesuit rituals, including Biden sacrificing his wife and daughter in 72 in a 201 ritual, and then his son 201 days before the Pope's birthday, the first Pope to live in Suite 201 when he was 72, and the Pope became the first Jesuit Pope on the 72nd day of the year. Again, Biden loses his wife and daughter in a 201 ritual in 1972, loses his son at age 46 in a 201 ritual, 201 days before the Pope's birthday. And again, his name is Jorge Mario Bergoglio, Pope Francis, first Jesuit Pope, first to live in Suite 201. The building's called the Domus Sancte Marte. I've given this lesson to Brian probably 15 times in the last 4 years. Doesn't seem to, he goes, oh, it's too much for me to understand. Really, Brian? Brian, if this is, seriously, Brian, if this is too much for you to understand, then what level of cognitive function do you have, you feel the ability to speak about anything? This shit is elementary. Who's the founder of the Jesuits? Ignatius of Loyola, 201. And notice the 75 and 87. The Superior General's 75 right now. The Pope's 87 right now. Who was saying for years and years and years, we got to watch out when Israel turns 75? That'd be yours truly. And that's part of the reason we said in 2023 things were going to get wild with Israel. While they're 75, So yeah, just, the real problem is most people have too much of an ego. And like a lot of people have said, and it's probably true, essentially, that's even what the woman was hinting at who came out in April to let me know she's friends with An0maly and he's very well aware of your work and he does talk about it a lot, but then he doesn't want to bring it on his program. An0maly, I think the real thing is fear. You're worried that if you have me on, your audience might be like, what am I listening to An0maly for? This guy doesn't really know what he's talking about, does he? Yeah, this guy had me fooled. An0maly, being smarter than a society of morons isn't a badge of honor, okay? The American people, like who most of your audience would be, are dumb people, okay? By and large, in huge percentages. Dumb people are who listen to you, okay? You know, it's the same type of people that listen to Owen Benjamin. Racists listen to Owen Benjamin. Dumb racists listen to Owen Benjamin. You know, probably between the three of you, Brian probably has the smartest, most mature audience. But they're also not very smart. And that's the real reason none of these three would ever have an interview with me or a conversation. They also all hang out with Adam Green of No Less News. And remember, Adam came back from Israel. That was the first interview he did, and then he deleted the interview the next day because his handlers told him so. So he could go back on InfoWars. So, and again, just about sports being scripted, we talked about this morning on Patreon, okay? St. Louis wins 7-2. Now, I'm not going to get, well, we just talked about 72, but it does have a meaning in the Super Bowl. I'm going to save that information for people. But here, I will show you this. Is St. Louis in Missouri the 24th state? You know? I want you to see this with your own eyes. Because this is what's going on every day in scripted sports. So An0maly, and again, I didn't get later to his video where he starts talking about how he likes sports and he doesn't think they can be rigged. Maybe sometimes. He goes, maybe sometimes. Yeah, maybe sometimes. Or maybe every fucking day like we've been proving for a decade. How many points do you think the St. Louis Blues have for the season? In hockey, you get 2 points for a win, 1 point for an overtime loss. So just guess how many points the St. Louis... I'll give you a minute to think about it. How many points do you think the St. Louis Blues have after today's win? You know? You got... I'll give you a clue. You got Mike Brown, the coach of the Kings that used to be in Kansas City, going into today's game on 271 losses, the 58th prime number. So how many points do you think the Blues now have after today's win, the day of Super Bowl what number? Let's see. Let's scroll down and find the St. Louis Blues. Oh, there's the update. Oh, weird. They got 58 points. I bet it's a coincidence. So, again, you know, now to An0maly's credit, An0maly, you know, he's doing interviews with Roseanne Barr and he's got Vivek coming on, all these puppets and, you know, UFC fighters. Do you know how much money my community's made off the rigged UFC? And for all the dummies like, rig the UFC. Yeah, retards. Did you know that fighting is the oldest rigged sport in the world? Did you know it's the easiest sport in the world to rig? All you got to do is take a beating and fall down. That's all you got to do. God. That's why I'm always amazed by people who are like, what? You're rigged fighting? It's like, yeah, since about the times of Rome. God. Are you retarded? Huh. But anyway. I personally haven't done a UFC decode since UFC 257, but here, I'll just take you back to the last UFC decode because we had about 1,000 more before. It was a nice payout. It was one where you could bet 100 to win 350. And you see how Dustin Poirier was the main event in UFC 57? I just want you to see this Dustin Poirier's name Gematria here. I just want you to see it with your own eyes. An0maly in a stream today was like, I think UFC is the best sport, and I think they got the best representation, and I think like they're legit. Yeah, okay. Okay, you can think that all you want. Dustin Glenn Poirier, 257 with the big upset in UFC 257. Here, bring me on with one of the UFC fighters. Let's all be in a thing, and let's talk about how rigged the UFC is. We'll go down memory lane. Brian, even Slow Joe can follow, okay? Taylor Allison Swift, big part of the 104th NFL season. Weird, her name's 104, isn't that weird? Her last album before the season began, Speak Now, 104. Also 32 and 112 like Chiefs, and here they are in the Super Bowl on 11/2. Here, I got my buddy Big Al calling in. Talk about a guy who knows how to decode the UFC. Al, do you know I'm live streaming right now?
Yeah, I do. And That UFC, dude, that is the easiest ass shit to call in sports by far. And I'm so glad you've laid off of it. I'd say 8 out of 10 weeks I win every week on UFC. Yesterday, they just had 2 fighters that finished 20-10. Anytime you see the 201 in UFC, Rock fucking City. It happens every time. And last night they had 2 fighters. One was a favorite. One was the underdog. It made money. It's easy. That's easy. When you see that, that's two fights right there I can use in everything. So, of course, I had him in a parlay, and then I hit him with some other fighters.
Yeah. What do you think about the St. Louis Blues picking up their 58th points today?
Then I got him with the big game today, too. What's that?
I mean, it's just like so many. Like if you use this knowledge and pay attention day after day, there's things that just come along where it's just like, okay, this is a no-brainer. Like the St. Louis Blues picking up their 58th points today.
When I came out to Seattle, this is when I didn't even know it that well, but it was so easy to decode. Even at that point, even early stages, that I made more money than my whole entire fucking trip cost to go out there and see you. When I was there, I made it.
Yeah, exactly.
It was fucking easy. Because they always line it up with the venue. There's always something with the venue. And once I found out the whole Jesuit shit, it just even made it easier. Because the Jesuit numbers, in the 201, they're just Lock City. They're never going to not do that number when it's there. When it's there, it's going to hit. I don't think I've ever seen a 201 that couldn't hit that didn't hit.
Again, just certain patterns to follow.
Remember the Ohio State championship game? He was coming in. I think he finished like 20-1 or something with the loss. I mean, like this number is their number, man. And when you see it, it just clearly shows how rigged and stupid this shit is, how silly it is, how fake it is. Like somebody to sit there and try to argue that this shit is like legit at all, for the least. I mean, wow.
Yeah, I'm always amazed at how many people.
Boxing's been rigged. Even retards know that boxing's been rigged forever.
Right.
So why wouldn't these stupid UFC fights be rigged?
Again, people are just dumb. Is the answer to that question?
Fucking stupid. These people don't need to exist. They do need to go. These are the type of people that do need to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do us a favor. Do us a favor, Bill Gates. Get these motherfuckers to do what you need them to do to get them out of here. Get these fucking people out of here.
Big Al, you got trolls in the comment section. The trolls are taking tabs. They're like, Big Al doesn't make any money. That's why he works at the post office. Do you want to retort to that comment, Big Al?
Listen, you know what, guys? I'm going to retire at 57. You know why? And I'm going to take 25% cut. You know why? Because I can. When I started at the post office, I didn't know about tax work. I'd already been at the post office 20 years. Why would I quit now and give up? I'll be 53. So I only have 4 fucking more years, and it's less than that because I have so much leave. I work another 2.5 years, and then I'll get a full salary and roll it all the way out to 57 and take the 25%. You know why? Because I won't need to work then. But if I quit right now, even though I could, I don't need to work right now. If I could, why would I work like 25 or close to 30 years and not hit a retirement and don't get anything? I wouldn't give anything if I quit today. How stupid is that? But like the people that talk shit on there, see, they don't know my situation.
Exactly. That's exactly the point I want to make. These people, like even this guy, he's talking about my situation like he knows what I'm doing. You don't know what I'm doing, dumbass.
Like you don't know that you can. Who knows? Maybe you're making like. But why would you put that out there? You don't want the psychopaths to know.
Exactly. You listen to all these trolls say the same thing. It's like you don't know my situation. I can brag about my situation. I won't do it. People are like, I thought it wasn't that good because you're saying into the support. I'm not getting as much support from the communities I used to. Again, I'm not going to make all the money for myself and go out and do all the work. If you guys want me to go out and pound payment and do shit like I do, I need support from the community too. But my financial situation's straight. I could retire today. I'll put it that way, and I'm 40 years old.
Yeah, you don't need our fucking money either, but you need our money if you want to make this revolutionary and you want to take it to the next level. But that's everybody else's job to see it for what it is and support it. And don't be a pathetic piece of fucking shit. And just go back to, I can't do anything about it. Well, I don't know, man. I think we could do something about it. I think this is why these people spend all the money and time they doing all this shit that they're doing. If there was no chance that we had nothing to do, you wouldn't have these motherfuckers hanging around, calling your sweet lady, doing all this stupid shit, putting a microwave, running shit through your house, doing all this crazy shit that they do if you weren't a threat.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. None of these trolls, even though they have bigger platforms, they don't have people. I have people dedicated to me on all social media platforms trying to trash and slander me every day. Even platforms I don't even post on. These people who have way bigger platforms, they don't have trolls and haters. Like they don't have people harassing them 24/7, 365. It's because their message is no threat to anything. I'm literally exposing all of this shit.
And that just tells you how fucking retarded people are. And like, it was real easy for me to see that almost 10 years ago. I'm like, wow, yeah, they obviously don't want this dude's shit out there. So that means I want to know it. I want to understand it, right? That's a smart person. A person that just gets tricked and fooled by all the bullshit and stuff that they do and slandering. Yeah, that's just a dumb fucking person. And there's no use for those type of people, obviously, anymore. Because we're in years ago.
Whoa. That was crazy. Something weird happened. Hold on.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah, I heard that.
Okay, we're back up.
Yeah, it's annoying, man. Just sitting there listening to all these fucking trash shit coming through the comment section, like these motherfuckers know like your situation. They don't know shit. The only thing they know is that little Patreon thing because you allow it to. A lot of people, they don't even tell people how much money they make on there.
Yeah.
Try to be transparent about everything, possible without it creating the problems that it had. And look, you weren't transparent about any of that stuff, and they still, found, phone numbers and stuff to people that you care about just to fuck with you that way. Like, nobody would ever do that, right? Unless they were not being paid to do this, or there was some other thing that was driving these people to do that. You know what I mean? Nobody would do that.
Sure.
Like, I don't even listen to none of this stuff. Why do I don't need to.
And the other thing that's annoying is you just see how the trolls do have an impact, though, because then they all start circulating the same messages. Like, they're all communicating the same lie. After the fact, Zach, like they've coined this nickname that's total bullshit. It's like, it's like, was there anybody else out this year at pro sports events telling the outcome of the game before it happened? Because I know I was at the Seahawks opener telling them why they were going to lose and Stafford was going to get his 94th win in 94 town Seattle. I know I was out in Seattle at Pike's Place Market the day before March Madness telling them why it was a lock for UConn. So, yeah.
Another future I fucking made a ton of money on, because what did you do? You got on the live stream, you told everybody, it's like, this looks like a fucking rental, guy. That net looked perfect to me. And why did they take the fucking net down? And they had it all synced up with how many points were in the game and with the tournament number that year. It was just obvious. I fucking just scooted in real quick and put a few $100 on that. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, there it is right there. There it is. But you got people on here saying this shit ain't fake. Shut the fuck up. I can't tell you how much money I've made with this information. You know what I mean? And I don't even play all the time. I just sit there and look for the obvious shit because I want to win every time. And that's why I win at such a high percentage, because I don't play every day. I only sit there and I cherry pick, and I can still make a lot of money by just cherry picking the perfect games.
Indeed.
And it's like today. Who cares what happens today? It's already been a successful season. I already won several $1,000s on this year's Super Bowl. I'll just win more if it's the other team. But either way, I'm good. You already won enough money.
Yeah, and
it's just the annoying part of it, man. Like, how fucking stupid is all this?
Yeah,
that people get fooled by this.
Yeah. Again, I mean, there's a lot of people in this community that this knowledge has changed their life. There's a lot, and again, I mean, there's probably at least 100 Patreons in the world that are now teaching how to decode sports through Gematria. So is that not a testament to the worth of the work? I mean, people have made a business out of this.
To me, I woke up this morning and they had an article out talking about it was the Indian dude that was running for the Republican Party that went out perfect by the numbers. I think he had the 144 all
Vivek,
over, right?
Yeah, born on the day, leaving 144 days. Trump says he's going to become part of his administration 159 days after the birthday when Donald Trump's 159. It's just all script.
Yeah, they had some fucking like Twitter thing that they popped up that he put out like 8 months ago, or just something to the effect of it's like even the mainstream is like putting this shit out there now, like trying to tell you it's fake, people. Like, this is what this guy's saying. Oh, it looks like they're doing something with what is it, Taylor Swift and the Kelsey thing. Like, he was alluding to in his Twitter that it was rigged for the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, before I found your work, there was never a fucking peep about any of this stuff.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
out there.
You can see the impact we've had. Literally, the NFL's doing this ad campaign about it being scripted this year. At the beginning of the year, you had Arian Foster doing.
Too, Zach. There was never any former players ever coming out talking about the games being rigged and scripted and all this. Now there's been several. Some I probably not even aware of.
Hey, that reminds me, Larry Johnson of the Chiefs, former NFL leading rusher. He's now, for people who don't know, I interviewed him at the start of 2020, actually just before the first 49ers Chiefs Super Bowl. And back then he was not he wasn't really forthcoming about the NFL being rigged, but now he's talking about it openly, and he's also doing Gematria decodes. So, I mean, that's also a cool thing.
It's just annoying, man. Like, nobody in the world was talking about this until you brought it up. And now, you got people out there, disinformation out there to make it look bad or silly, and it's just, all of it, man. All of it's just fucking so annoying, and I don't know, man. If people can't see it by now, then I guess they're just not deserving of knowing it. You know what I mean? Just if you're getting fooled by any of this stuff, I don't know what to tell people at this point.
What do you think about this Owen and Ben? What do you think about this Owen and Brian thing, where Brian's saying it's too confusing for him, and Owen's saying it doesn't point to anything? Could that be anything other than shilling, or do you think they're being honest?
I think they're shilling, man, but I don't know. I don't listen to these guys. I don't know, what other stuff they've really talked about or gotten into. Maybe they could be that fucking stupid. I mean, like, how can it not be any obvious if you just give one number to a person and tell them? I mean, you can't see from that one number how obviously rigged this shit is. I mean, it's just obvious, like, along with everything else. The whole Trump thing. You were telling people before they put fucking Biden in, it looks like once that happens, they're going to put fucking Trump back in. And even as most faithful people couldn't see it. They couldn't even see it, but we saw it from a fucking mile away. Because we saw the whole fucking Grover Cleveland and how it just lined up by numbers.
And then next thing you know, we're talking about how 60 matters, and the next thing you know, it's 60 weeks into the Jesuit Ignatian year, and his wife's dead from falling down the stairs. And on the same day, there's a...
And then how many rituals after that? How many more have they knocked off?
Yeah.
I mean, these are just the dumbest of fucking people. There's no help for these people. I mean, they're stuck in whatever it is. They're just stuck, and they're going to stay stuck.
That's why, for all of you guys in the chat who leave comments like, there's no way man's doing this is God, then what you believe in, what you're telling me is your belief is Satan. You believe Satan runs the world, and Satan favors the Jesuits, and Satan makes everything happen according to Jesuit patterns. So, to me, that's an illogical thought.
Satan made sure that, the right guy was birthed, Jorge Mario Bergaglia. He put him in the right name. He put him in the right fucking suite. I mean, all this shit, really?
And also, if the universe is just unfolding this way, then they don't need the refs out there fixing the games either, because they are the biggest part of the fix each week. And anyone who watched the AFC Championship saw how unfair it was for Baltimore. They had all game.
And they wouldn't need to pay these athletes, right, who are pretty dumb. Let's be honest. Most athletes are not that motherfucking smart. They're pretty fucking stupid. Why would you pay athletes the money that they did when they wouldn't need to? They could pay them a nice postal salary, right? And they get free meals. They'd still do better than me. And they're getting to play a fucking game that they grew up and got to play their whole life. Like kids dream about playing. You would not need to pay these motherfuckers the money you do and then put them on TV and show them how they're taking all their fucking shots, how they need everybody else to take their shots, just like the star player. Shut the fuck up. You people are retards. Anybody that's still stuck in this and believes any bit of it or any of these motherfuckers that they're putting in front of you, you deserve everything that's coming to you. You deserve every fucking last bit of it. and I'm ready for it, man.
It might come sooner. It might come sooner than people expect. It might come sooner than people expect.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, I just go back to they live. Everything will be in place by 2025, right?
Yeah.
Is that the end of 25 or the beginning or the middle?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, anyways, I was on there for a few minutes and I just saw all these fucking retards coming on there just talking shit and acting like they live with you. I mean, do these guys live with you? You know, act like where you're spending your money and how much money you have, and
Yeah.
they know if you're gambling or not.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. It's like, what are you talking about? Like your whole analysis of me was just based on your bullshit assumptions and downplaying the truth. So.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep at it, man. We'll keep at it, brother. Hey, I did see today where so on ESPN there was only one college game listed. It was just some kind of nobody, but the favorite did win. But I saw where they got their 19th win and they dropped the Shockers to 10-14, like 114. And isn't it Mahomes' 114th game today?
It is.
And I think the Niners got the 114 too. I mean, it's just like it's just so stupid. Like, people can't see how obvious this shit is, how obvious it's all put together for you. What are they not seeing? The kids don't have to know that the games are rigged and how they're rigged. Yeah, the key players, but not all of them have to know. But it's obvious in the professional league. They all know. They're all aware of it.
Yep.
I mean, what is it that people's brains are just too small to not comprehend? How easy this actually could be. Like, they act like it's difficult to do this.
Yeah, it's not hard to throw games.
Fucking rig this shit.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I mean, what's it look like when an athlete throws a game? Go back and watch the college championship.
Because they've admitted to it. Like, what was it in that one Super Bowl where there was a fucking defender, the cornerback for Patriots? He had the same number as the day, and it was the same number pass attempt that Russell Wilson threw down on the goal line. And he talked about, hey, we practiced that play all week. Why? Not one goddamn time did Seattle fucking ever throw the ball on the goal line until the Super Bowl. So you practice that all week?
Yeah.
Just treating people like they're dumb as rocks, and getting away with it.
Al, I just had somebody join my stream who has the same name as my cousin, and I gotta bring them on in case it is my cousin. That'd be interesting.
All right, brother. I'll be
All right. Appreciate it, Al.
Later.
It could be a coincidence, but he has a different last name than me because I'm not sure it's the same person, but I do have a cousin with the same name, which is funny enough. I have about 1 million people in my family too. So is it my cousin? Is it?
No,
it's not. I was hoping it was. Anyway, what's up, man?
Your cousin name's Answer?
Yeah, and his last name's King because that was his dad's name. So.
Gotcha. Nice.
Yeah.
Love the stream. You talking the Super Bowl today?
We talked about Super Bowl a lot on Patreon. This stream has a topic, so I said join if you want to add to the topic.
Gotcha. What's the topic?
All right, later, Spencer. What's up? Open up.
Yeah. I just want to say there's
Oh, hold up. Let me fix that. I know what's wrong. All right, what's up? Open up.
Yeah, man. I just want to join in and contribute because I've only been here, I think, 2 to 3 years, and it didn't even take me that long to realize how important your work is. And when it comes to the two guys that you're showing on your screen, like, I only know them because you mentioned them, but to me, I think they're perfectly aware of how important what you're doing is. And I think they shy away from it just because they see what it's done to you. Like, they don't want to lose their paycheck. And that's what it comes down to for a lot of these people. And it's pretty sad because, I mean, they know that what you're saying is true. And I think the guy on the right, I don't know, the Impact Flix guy, I think you mentioned in the past that he said things that have gotten himself demonetized. And he now only does the the cop videos now. So he's just trying to keep his money up. And then the guy on the left, I don't know who he is either. But a lot of the people, they just want to keep their paycheck. And when it comes to the trolls, I mean, the trolls are in the Patreon And then after they come out, like, oh, after the fact, when they're in the Patreon seeing the notes of what you put out before the game. So that doesn't even make sense.
Right.
And I mean,
but then you even hear like An0maly now echoing that. Oh, he only says it after it happens. Like, nope, never claimed anything after it happened. Everything I've ever claimed is because we did predict it before it happened. And we do it all the time. Again, I can't remember all my predictions. We just hit another one last week. I said exactly what I expected to happen with Colorado in the election. Boom. Next thing you know, by the exact numbers I just talked about.
Yeah. And like you always say, you've been here for 10 plus years. And the first bulk of that was all free information. So it was all out there, no paywall, nothing. And it was even hitting at a higher rate because, you know, there were less people on it. But now, as we know, that the cabal knows what you're doing, they're definitely watching. They're probably watching right now, and you know things have gotten harder to call, but still, you're pretty accurate in everything you call. And a lot of people think it's just sports. Like you talk about the news and other events way more than sports. The sports is only to get those people who are sheep to try to, you know, get along with the information.
Well, but also just to show how it's all scripted together too, because it is.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, man, I mean, like I think Big Al stated, this unfortunately not everyone is going to come along, whether it's that they're not smart enough or they don't want to put down their ego or they have cognitive dissonance, like either one of the three. Like there's going to be people who never accept this, and sometimes we just have to move along. And I understand, like you got to come on here, you got to address these people because, like you said, they do have an impact. Like people who have never seen you and are seeing trolls for the first time.
All three of these people get way more views than me. So yeah, they're having a major detrimental effect because they're not as impacted by the algorithm, or in some cases they're supported by it. So yeah, it does need to be called out. And the problem is, I mean, because we're killed in the algorithm, most of these people's followers are never going to see this video. You know, Brian was in there talking shit. You're like, who is this guy, Brian? Why doesn't he make his own channel? It's like, see, Brian, that's why you should bring me on so people can find out about what's actually going on in the world.
Yeah, and another point is like, if people want to know something about somebody, it's fine to like hear what other people have to say, but wouldn't it be smarter to go to the source, go to the actual person who's like being accused of things? Like if I didn't know you and I saw some troll video and like, oh, someone's talking shit and they don't really have any base of evidence, I'd probably go try to find you and see what you're saying to see if it matches up, you know?
Indeed. You know, that's what an intelligent person would do. I mean, that's also why you're here, because you're an intelligent person, and intelligent people in this world are few and far between. So
yeah, and I mean, it even comes down to like going to school. Like some people will go to school, they get all degrees, and like they still see this, and they still have trouble coming along with this information. So it's kind of like a different realm of intelligence. I don't know how to explain it. There's probably a way to explain it, but yeah, I mean, common sense. And this stuff is like irrefutable. Like this is not even stuff that you're making up. You're showing what they give us each day, and you're showing us the alphabet that we were given, and like nothing here is made up. Everything here is based in fact. So it's hard for me to understand why people don't, you know, see it.
And exactly, people haven't caught on. I'm not a numerologist. I'm not doing numerology readings for people. I'm showing what they're doing every day. I saw that they were numerologists. I said, oh, it's masonry. Okay, masonry's based in Kabbalah. Oh, they etch Allah's number on their temple. Okay, that's starting to make sense because I've been paying attention to number rituals. Now I'm starting to understand why they do this.
So, yeah, a lot of the troll pack, they're talking about like, oh, you're doing I can't remember what they call it, like a magic or something. I mean, you're not, the only thing you're doing is showing what they're doing. Like, I don't know why people can't understand that.
Well, they're also not sincere people. I mean, they're just also bullshitters.
But yeah, that's all I wanted to say pretty much. Thankfully, like all the people you showed, like this guy on the screen, the An0maly guy, I don't know who he is. The other two also, I don't know who they are, only because you mentioned them. But I mean, I feel like I'm in the right place with your information and I'm getting the accurate stuff that I can go back and check too. So I appreciate you for that.
All right. Appreciate it. Open up. Have a good one, man.
You too.
All right. Take care. All right. We got Trevor who wants to join the stream. See if Trevor's a real one. Trevor?
Hey, show your bet slip for today. Show your picks. Show your
What do I need to do that for? What do I need to do that?
You don't bet. You don't. Is betting legal in Washington or is it not?
That's also another good point, right?
Yeah, is it legal? Did you bet?
Okay, so Anyway, but again, like that doesn't mean anything. Here's what I'll show you why there's thousands of people following the work based on the track record for the last decade, where I've only been wrong about the outcome of one Super Bowl. And it wasn't that bad because we smoked the playoffs that year, and we had the future in for both teams in week 3. So we got paid regardless. And I did, even though I was more on the Patriots and the Eagles in that one, that was Super Bowl 52. I did see how Zach Ertz, again, like I said, number 86, could win it 86 days after his birthday, when that season was about the national anthem, adopted 86 years before that season began, since Philly's the home of the flag. So it wasn't the end of the world, but again, there's a reason that I have the following that I do in the sports world. There's a reason when I walk around in Vegas, people recognize me. So anyway. Yeah, someday when I retire, I'll show you the little empire I built for myself, for all the haters. Then you'll even be more jealous, and you'll be crying and have something new to cry about. Here's what I gotta say to all my haters: if you guys don't work for the league, if you're not shills employed to harass, then you're just fucking losers. Like, what are you mad about? What are you mad that I ruined your illusion of rigged sports? I think that's what An0maly's mad about, because later in the video it gets into how much he likes sports. Like, I don't think they could rig all the games, because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. It's because you're not as smart as you think you are. It's because you don't appreciate someone who's a lot smarter and older and more experienced than you. Why you watch my video from 2015 and 2016 about politics and why they're going to put Trump in there, and then go back and listen to yourself and see how fucking dumb you sound, okay? In 2015, 2016, I was younger than An0maly is now, but light years ahead of him, not even comparable. And yeah, again, anyone who hates on me, you're just mad that I popped your illusion of reality. Admit it. That's all it is. I broke you because you were so invested in something outside of yourself. Your life was about rigged sports and celebrating other men in tight pants, and I ruined that for you. Isn't that pathetic? That's what your life was about? Worshiping other men who don't give a fuck about you? Oh, poor you. Admit it. That's all it is. That's what you're mad about. Oh, I ruined the idea of what America was to you. You believe so much in your country. Your 13 years of slave school program. I hear Brian using that. It's funny. Okay. This guy up here, right here, this guy in the blue hat, acting like he doesn't understand Gematria. I know he's watching a lot of videos because he's copied my work several times over the years, but not put the Gematria piece in. We don't want to get into it, but I know now in his vocabulary, he's saying slave school all the time, and he's saying lemmings. I'm like, oh, where'd you learn that from, Brian? Like, those words don't come out of my mouth 500 times per stream. But that's the way speech is too, right? You hang around a group of people that use words all the time. Next thing you know, you're saying them. But yeah, again, anyone who hates on me, unless you're being paid to do it, you're a fucking loser. And you know what? If you're being paid to hate on me, you're also a fucking loser. Let's get that right. Let's get that straight as well. So, but yeah, again, here's also another fact, and it's not arrogance; it's just facts. In the last decade, nobody's exposed more about what's really going on in the world than yours truly. End of discussion. There's nothing more to say. Nobody showed you what's behind the English language, how it's synced up with the calendar, who put it in place, how they're using it. And here, An0maly, the 59th elections where Biden was elected 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday. You have to explain to me why Pope Francis, 59, why Benedict stepped down on the 59th day of the year for him. Because, see, we were making this point a long time ago. We're saying, you can tell this 59 is important to Pope Francis. Now we got the 59th election, and it's exactly 46 weeks after his birthday, and Joe Biden can become number 46, and he sacrificed Bo at 46, and the last Catholic president, JFK, got smoked at 46. So, again, you got to explain how all of this is like, you don't believe in it. What don't you believe in? You don't believe that JFK was number 35 and 46? Why don't you look it up? Sounds like you have to believe in it. It's facts. You don't believe there's 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament, and that's why Israel was established on 14/5? Think about it. Why do you think the founder of Zionism died 44 years before Israel was established? He died at age 44, 44 years before Israel's establishment. Zion's 44, Israel's 44, Netanyahu's 44. It's a military superpower, 44. You know, Netanyahu on the eve of the 44th anniversary of the Iranian hostage crisis starting, which lasted 444 days. Netanyahu on the eve of the 44th anniversary, he said that he will not stop, you know, bombing Gaza until every last hostage is returned. And like I said that day, I said, well, that means he's not going to stop bombing because they're not getting back every hostage. These are all rituals. Hold up. Hold on, you guys. I'm hearing too much noise in my house, and I don't... I don't know what I was hearing. That was weird. Nobody's home. Okay. All right, I'm gonna let one more person on, and here's something else. Okay, Truth Does Not Exist wants to come on. Something that like it's not really Truth Does Not Exist fault, but he's an 18-year-old kid, right? And he's super motivated, and he wants to help out, and he wants to get out the word, and he wants to pound pavement. I'm grateful for all that. But what annoys me is like he's one of the most motivated people, and I'm like, where are the fucking men in the world? Why is an 18-year-old kid like the guy who wants to get out and say the most and help the most? Like, where are the adults at? All right, what's up? Truth Does Not Exist.
Hey Zach. I guess there's not many people like me, but I was looking into the Super Bowl thing, and I saw some interesting numbers. I noticed that at Allegiant Stadium where it was at, Allegiant is 36 and 54, and just like I think Patrick
just to make some time about the Super Bowl, just to make a point, it's the second Joe Montana Bowl.
That's the one, yeah.
Nevada's the 36th state, right? So we have a Joe Montana Bowl in the 36th state. The last one was Super Bowl 54. This is Super Bowl 58, the 54th of the modern era. But yeah, these things aren't an accident. Okay, go ahead.
So thank you. That was who I was going to bring up. And what I noticed was that World War equals 102, just like God damn it, I hate this. Derek's thing lost my my thing that I had up here. What I had noticed was that Usher and Taylor are 71 and 28. And also I noticed that Usher's 64, like Swiftie, and like they've been like really harping on the Taylor Swift thing, and there was something I don't know if you saw the thing about like her falling in Japan. It was like this huge story that she's falling in Japan. It's so stupid. But I noticed that in the news story, it said like in quotes that fans were calling it the Errors Tour. And the Errors Tour is 74 and 151, the 36 prime. And I thought that was pretty interesting. Oh, now I got it. So Allegiant Stadium, where it's happening at, is 102, just like World War is 102. And that was what I had figured out. I thought was pretty interesting. And also, of course, Allegiant Stadium, they have like if you bring it up on the screen, what it looks like now, it has a big sun logo over where it says Allegiant. That's like their logo is a big sun. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Here, just to show people how scripted it is, you see how Allegiant Stadium also equals 168? Look at Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift's also 168, right? But you see how Taylor Swift's also 129? Look how tight end. Her boyfriend's a tight end. That's also 129. And do you want to guess how many days after Travis Kelce's birthday it is?
129.
Exactly. So for An0maly, who's like, I know, I mean, it's just like, dude, shut the fuck up and come on and debate, sorry ass motherfucker.
He sounds like he
You see how Kelsey wears 87, like almost every tight end in the league? Tight end's also 87. It's really good for the Catholic jokes, too, with the tight ends, like what happened to Jake Dickbutt falling to the 145th pick of the draft for the Denver Broncos when Denver Broncos is 71 and Catholic 71 and 145, and that happened right after his coach Harbaugh met with the Pope. Anyway.
Yeah, and did you see one of the sports announcers said that he didn't want to be in Vegas because it was going to be a mess, and he didn't want to be anywhere near there? I mean, what's that alluding to?
It's Joe Buck who said that.
That's who it is. Yeah, thanks.
Radio, but people like Joe Buck's father. Joe Buck's father's considered one of the greatest sports commentators ever. Most of them don't like his son, who just gets to ride on his coattails and call sports games. Joe Buck said it's going to be a mess. That was his quote that was in the media, which equals 11 going with 11th. And here's the thing about what else I noticed in mess. Let's hope this doesn't happen. You see how mess is 56? So is power outage.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Obama put out the movie Leave the World Behind 192. What is it? Super Bowl LVIII is 192. Today's Obama's 192nd day of his age. And part of the plot in that Super Bowl involves the movie Friends, and Julia Roberts stars in it. We know Matthew Perry died on the 56th birthday Matthew Perry died on the 56th birthday of Julia Roberts. She stars in this movie about a cyber attack taking down the grid. The Friends plot's part of it. Julia Roberts and Matthew Perry met in the episode called The One After the Super Bowl. And funny enough, that movie came out 109 days ago, and Cyber Attacks 109. We just had the FBI head say on January 31st that China's considered big red. We have an all-red Super Bowl. The Year of the Dragon just started yesterday. Super Bowl's 131. Like
Taylor Swift has her red album. Taylor Swift has her red album.
Okay, but again, we just had the FBI head say on January 31st that a Chinese cyber attack is imminent. Do they do it today after the Super Bowl, kind of like in plot points in this movie that just came out? I mean, I hope not. But the number disasters there. Keep in mind, today's Obama's 192nd day of his age. Tomorrow is 192 days after his birthday. But again, it's like I keep saying, don't live in fear. Be prepared. Just have your water, your emergency food supply, and realize that it's all part of the plan. I got to imagine that if they turned the power out, it would come back on in a number of days. It could be as much as a week, but then it would be this country did this to us, and we got to ramp up the war drum even more, and it very well could go down like that. And power, again, is 58, just like it's Super Bowl 58, so we'll see.
I watched the Tucker Carlson Putin thing, and there's something in the middle that you missed that I know you would have liked. Putin talked about genetic engineering athletes and scientists and doctors, and like how that needs to be regulated and how they can do that now. And I thought, and it was just in there, and they just like glossed over it real quick, and nobody talked about it again. I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting that they're talking about that. And then of course, Putin mentioned about Tucker, applying for the CIA and whatever. He's a little CIA Jesuit asset. And I just found that pretty interesting. And also,
hold on, I just got to throw in one more piece since I brought this up. Again, in Leave the World Behind, which equals 192, like this Super Bowl has the 192 connection. At the end of that movie, it ends in a billionaire's bunker, and on the wall is Commodus, who's associated with the fall of Rome. And notice, he died in the year 192. So again, we know America's a failing empire, and with regard, look at this. Commodus accompanied his father during the how do you say that? Can you pronounce it? Marcomannic. Give it to the 18-year-old genius. In 172. Now, remember, 172 is a huge number with the Chiefs. It's just like Harbaugh was kept on 172 wins in the AFC Championship. Last year, we were showing how Len Dawson died on Kobe Bryant Day from Philly, 172 days before the Super Bowl between Philly and the Chiefs. And, of course, Kansas City Chiefs is 64, and this is their 64th season, and Norma Hunt died on 6-4, and Usher's the halftime performer, and he's performing for 15 minutes, and we know who wears 15. But, anyway, that's why this thing they're doing, it is suspicious, and it'll be interesting what goes down today and tomorrow, especially with Joe Buck's little warning, because Joe Buck said he was not going to go to the game because he suspects something, a mess is going to unfold. So we'll see what happens.
And we'll see if it happens like in that movie, that 70s movie that was called like Black Super Bowl or something like that. Black Sunday.
Black Sunday.
If something like that happens there.
Palestinian. So Black Sunday came out the year of the 58th NFL season. This is Super Bowl 58, but it's about a Palestinian terrorist group attacking the Super Bowl. We've been talking about this since October at the start of the season and how it was all lined up with the war in Israel and just that movie in history, which won the Edgar Allan Poe Award. The reason it matters that Black Sunday won the Edgar Allan Poe Award is because the war in Israel began on the 174th death anniversary of Edgar Allan Poe, and Baltimore Ravens is 174. And the day after that, Tomlin got his 174th win, beating the Ravens. And 174 is no slouch of a number. You know, it's New World Order, and it's Number of the Beast. And it's why on the 174th day of the Jesuit Ignatian year, they put up the beast statue at the United Nations. But anyway, if you want to wrap it up, I got to do a few more things before I start the Super Bowl broadcast. But you can close this out.
Yeah, there's one more thing I wanted to add. God damn it. Fuck. How do I post the I can't post the link in the chat. It's not letting me because I have the link on the other computer.
Well, what do you want to say?
So that was another thing I wanted to talk about. So the whole Ukraine-Russia thing, in 2015, there was a skit with Donald Trump. It was an SNL skit, and it foreshadowed the war in Ukraine, where it was from 2015. The video, by the way, and basically, in it said, it was like a skit making fun of like what would happen if he was president. And here, let me. I can show you the title, and you can bring it up. I think it's on YouTube, I believe. Let me see. It's on BitChute. It's called. Oh my God, this computer is so slow. It's called 2015 SN. Oh, sorry, what were you saying?
I'm just saying the breaking news is there's a shooting at a Joel Osteen event, so I'm just like, what is this about? Go ahead.
211. That was something else I noticed. 211. I didn't connect it to anything, but a 211 in like police codes is what a robbery is, and the Super Bowl's happening on 211. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
But in the video, it said basically that so the SNL skit was of Trump. What would happen if he became president? And in that skit, they said, someone goes up to Donald Trump and they says, "Wow, Trump, you solved the war in Ukraine and Russia in one day." And this was in 2015. Let me look it up. 2015 SNL Trump skit. Oh, I can't wait to get rid of this computer. Okay, I got it. God damn it.
While you're looking for it, I see what Houston's also big with the 112. Today can be written 11/2. So you got a shooting in Houston on this day at Joel Osteen's church. It's 49 weeks after his birthday, which is a big revelation number. And anyway, did you figure out what you wanted?
I did. SNL skit Mexican. It's just you know how Google's been making it so hard to search stuff. So I looked it up, and a news article about the thing came up, but not the video itself. So I'm looking up Mexican to see if it comes up, and it won't do it. Can you post the link in the chat again to get into the StreamYard so I can get into it on this other computer and just post it in there? Okay. Thanks. Oops. That should be a lot faster. So then you can just show it. I'll post it in the private chat. Did you see our the video I did with RPM Trey?
Oh, I didn't see go live that night. I was looking for it, but I never saw it go live.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, me and RPM Trey went live yesterday night, and the Google censored it a lot. It said that it had 3 views and 27 likes, and we had 20 viewers while we were together. Okay, now I posted it in the private chat. We had 20 viewers, and it's only gotten 150 views since yesterday, and I know for a fact that video definitely would have gotten a lot more views than that with that many live viewers. I rarely get that many, so
Okay.
Okay. You see the video in the private chat?
Yeah, it says device is not connected.
The fuck?
What's this about?
That's the Trump video.
What Trump video?
The Trump SNL skit video. It's you see it in the private chat. You see it on comments. So right next to comments to the left, it says private chat. Right on there, that's where the link is.
Okay, but it's actually SNL.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm not.
Yeah, it's an SNL skit.
Okay.
If
people want to check it out,
I guess you can watch it later.
2015
yeah, you can.
Skit. Yeah.
Yeah, you can watch it later if you want. But yeah, it predicted a lot of stuff. One of them being the Russia-Ukraine war. Yeah, that's all I want to say. Go check out that video. It was a really good video. I'm glad I finally got to do that video with RPM Trey. But yeah, I'm here smoking the Super Bowl and watching all these idiots watch the stupid bowl. So anyway, yeah, I'm out.
Okay. All right. Later, man.
All right, later.
All right, we had more people jump on here. I was just about to get off. All right, Steve C., you want to close us out?
Yeah, I was the one that I called yesterday in the middle of your football stream, and I get usually, the sports are definitely rigged, but not all the ones that are available for gambling, for example, are even rigged. And I'm not saying high school or peewee or younger than that, but there's a lot of college games that no one really gives a shit about to bet on. They're not even a post on any casino, but some of the numbers that appear in those events kind of link up with what's going on. And I was calling you yesterday about how I was at a Loyola girls lacrosse game, and the halftime score was 8-8. Of course, Trump equals 88, and the Loyola won the game 18-10, outscoring the opponent Florida by a score of 10-2 in the in the second half, which is an interesting number for Loyola. 10-2, 102. And I just I know that a lot of these numbers are a lot of these other sports kind of have a hidden agenda, is what I think. I've seen it way too many times, and I know no one's rushing out to bet on girls lacrosse games, so you wouldn't think it was fixed. But I think it's a lot more than just the ones that we see on the big screen.
Yeah, it very well could be. And, so again, just knowing the knowledge, you guys, like yesterday in men's college basketball, which people are betting on, you had 2 Jesuit schools going at it yesterday. And look at the familiar numbers here. Let's go down to the game yesterday with the 2 Jesuit schools. Where is it at? It is right there. Creighton and Xavier, 2 Jesuit schools. And just as we imagined, Creighton gets to 17-7. The Jesuit order, 177, just like Klaus Schwab's a good 177, the Jesuit that runs the World Economic Forum. And how many points do they win in the Battle of the Jesuit schools? They score 78, like Jesuit equals 78. The other schools score 71, like Catholic 71. So
yeah. One other thing, if I could talk about ivermectin. I've called before. I've told you that I am on a horse paste protocol to cleanse my body, and including my pineal gland. And there. So if you Google back on everything that Donald Trump has spoken about when it comes to gas, when he mentions gas prices, how they are now and how they used to be when he was a president, he always mentions a $1.87. And I think that he is talking about the 1.87% of ivermectin that's in horse paste. And if you write out cures cancer in the third cipher, you get
Well, hold on.
187.
Hold on. Let's talk about what we've always talked about with Donald Trump in 187. He had his convention begin on 18/7 in 2016 in Cleveland, 187 days from Inauguration Day, which we pointed out back then because Society of Jesus is 187, Holy Roman Empire is 187, Washington, D.C. is 187, George Washington's 187, Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry is 187. So I think that's probably where he's going with the 187.
I think they're telling you that that the cure for cancer is in the horse paste with the 1.87% ivermectin.
Listen, I don't it's not that I want to argue about this. It's just like this is the kind of stuff that YouTube will take your stream down for. So anyway.
I get that, and I just want to. I think the overall bigger thing is the conditioning of everyone's minds and getting right with their health is the biggest thing, and it's amazing you'll be able to think straight. Amazingly, you will wake up.
Sure. Eat well, exercise, get enough sleep, and your mind will work. And I don't have anything against ivermectin. It's never been in my body, and my mind's been working better than almost everybody around us.
And there's a whole host of other things. I mean, they're lying to us about the sun. They're lying to us about everything. The sun is put on this earth for our health benefits. I'm finding that out each and every day.
Yeah.
When the sun's out, today's not out. Today's unfortunately.
Yeah,
so
they gave you the old spray. So.
That's all I got.
All right, appreciate it, man. Thank you. All right, yeah, I'm gonna leave it there, and I'll probably look more into this Joel Osteen thing. But yeah, Houston 112 again, huge pattern with that city as well. You might recall. So you remember? Here, let's just put it up again one more time, and let's go down memory lane. So Houston, the numbers that play the most in this city are 112 and 31, and going back to the death of the Migos rapper, he died on November 1st in Houston, one day before the anniversary of his album Rocket. Of course, the basketball team in Houston is the Rockets. But he was with his uncle who was 31, and then they arrested his shooter 31 days later. And again, in March Madness, it was all about 31 because Connecticut got their 31st win of the year, winning the tournament. But again, here we are on the date that can be written 11/2. And that there might be something with the first games of this NFL playoffs were the Houston Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs. It was a Saturday. It was a date with 58 numerology. The Chiefs won and became 5-8 in the wild card. And it's just like how when they beat Baltimore fell to 5-8 versus the Chiefs, as Andy Reid continues to sit on 58 losses with the Chiefs. But the thing about the Houston Texans and the Chiefs playing on that same day is in history, there was a Dallas Texans football team that folded, and that team became the Kansas City Chiefs. So maybe there's something to Houston. See how Houston's 112, Chiefs is also 112. Again, the Super Bowl's today on 11/2. And these are all things we pointed out last year. If you were in my stream last year for the Super Bowl, the first thought I put out, I said, well, if the Chiefs win this one, which they did, again, they become 3-2 in Super Bowls. I said next year the Super Bowl's on the 42nd day of the year. Now here we are. So they win that one, they're 4-2. Remains to be seen if they will. But we also pointed out the date of the Super Bowl how it corresponded with Chiefs. So anyway, we'll leave it there. Shout out to the generous people. Thank you, Prospect. Okay, interesting way to spell it. Thank you, Warrior Metagod. Thank you, Clean Money Gibbs. Again, St. Louis Blues getting to 58 points in the NHL season on the day of Super Bowl 58, just as we drew it up this morning. And, if you want to join us, Patreon link's in the description of the video. The dollar tier on Patreon. If you only want to pledge $1 gets you in the Super Bowl live stream. It's going to start at game time, which is 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern. I'm out here on the West Coast. Just understand in the stream, I'm not showing the game on the screen. I'm not allowed to do that. They'd take down the stream. I'm just going to be watching the game and giving you my commentary on what I see in the rig and what they're putting up. And if I'm paying attention enough and they're putting stuff in the ads, a lot of times there's predictive programming in the ads. And year after year, we've been able to pinpoint what we expect to happen on certain drives, just paying attention how the numbers are following what they're showing, putting up on the screen. So we'll see if we can do the same thing. And again, hopefully they keep the power on for us. So we'll leave it there for now. Again, thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. And thank you also to Raphael for becoming a new member. I appreciate that. And until next time, everybody. For all you guys who beg for who I'm picking, I mean, it's like you guys are losers. Join the Patreon and get the picks. Don't beg for who I'm picking. They're not going to tell you. The people who know what I think, other than the trolls, they're on the Patreon. Like, come here and beg for picks. It's like, do you want to look like a loser? Support the work. I don't charge very much. So if you want to make some money, invest a little bit. Till next time.